Let's start now. Share the screen.
Hare Krishna. Namamishwaram Sachidananda Rupam Lasat Kundaram Gokule Brajamanam Yashodadiyo Lukaladvamanam Paramishtanatyantato Jitagopya Yudantam Muhunitra Yugam Vijantam Param Bhoja Yugmena Sakanetram Muhushashvakam Patrikam Kankanta Sita Grevadamodaram Bhaktivatam Svamilabhe Ananta Kunde Sakosham Nimajantam Akyapayantam Tadiyeshitanyashu Bhaktirchitatam Puna Prema Samstastra Vritti Vande Varam Deva Moksham Na Moksha Vadimba Nachalyamireham Varisharapiha Idam Deva Purnata Gopala Palam Sada Me Manasha Abhirasham Kimanye Idam Te Mukham Bhojam Atyanta Nile Vetam Kuntale Snigra Ratesha Gopya Muhushtum Vitam Bimba Ratataram De Manasha Virastam Alam Nashalade Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabhu Jutta Jalabhimagnam Kripatishti Vishtati Dinam Vatanu Vihane Shamam Agyam Ete Akshidishya Kuveratmajo Bhata Mutyaya Vatvat Tvaya Mochito Bhakti Bhajo Pitaucha Tata Prema Bhaktim Swatame Prayacha Namokshe Home Sri Damodareha Namaste Sudamne Surade Jidamne Swadiodaraya Vishwasadamne Namo Radhikaya Swadhiya Priyaye Namo Nantamilaya Devaya Duktam Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Yasakundalam Gokule Brajamanam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Thank you so much for so nicely singing Damodar Ashtakam. It is the holy month of Kartik or Damodar, and singing Damodar Ashtakam, offering lamps, is recommended in all the holy scriptures. It is mentioned out of the 12 months, the month of Kartik is very, very special. And even little act of devotion done in this month, a small thing, offering a lamp is a very small thing in our perspective, right? It takes 2 minutes, 5 minutes probably, but it has unlimited spiritual result, transcendental result. So thank you so much for sharing this wonderful bhajan. And now we will discuss Bhagavad-Gita. Reading Bhagavad-Gita is the essence of our spiritual life, and it is very, very important, especially in the month of Kartik. So we will chant some prayers and then we will start discussion further. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanutam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vachakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namaha Pankajanabhaya Namaha Pankajamalini Namaha Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namami Damodara Pada Pankajam Karomi Damodaram Pujanam Sada Vadami Damodara Nama Nirmalam Smarami Damodara Lila Sundaram Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Ram Hare Hare. Gurave Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you so much for taking out your valuable time on this Saturday morning. Thank you, Ram Mohan Prabhu, Manisha Mataji, Karina Mataji. Thank you so much for your association. So good to see you all. Avni, Vedehi, V. Shankar Prabhu, Sheetal Mataji, and Dr. Shardul Prabhu and family. Thank you, all of you, for progressing together in the nice path of bhakti. Vipul Prabhu, Sudhir Prabhu, thank you so much. I know you have a lot of services today, but still you take out your time. Thank you so much. Anita Mataji, Vinita Mataji, thank you for your time, and your family as well. Pooja Mataji and Priyanka Mataji joining. Also Kartik Prabhu, Nayan Prabhu, Bhaswati Mataji from Tampa. Thank you. And Gandhi Prabhu, you're always there in all the classes, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad-Gita. And my dear father who gave me this body and recently got initiated by His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, His Grace Avadvasi Ram Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, my dear father, for giving your blessings and association. And Rashmi Mataji joining all the way from Rochester, New York. Thank you so much. You're always eager to hear Bhagavad-Gita and give your association. So thank you to all of you for your time, your eagerness to read here Bhagavad-Gita. Maline mochanam pumsam jalasnana dine dine sakrit gita amritasnanam samsara malanashanam. As we take bath in the waters every day, we get purified from the dirt, from the impurities. But when we take bath in the waters of nectarian waters of Bhagavad-Gita, the song of the Lord, we are purified from the samsara malanashanam. We get a lot of mala in the outside world. Lust, anger, greed, the three different modes bind us. We'll talk about those today. And then what's the remedy? What's the medicine? What's the vaccination to cure it? It is the message of Bhagavad-Gita. So we'll study that. And before we start, we'll just take a quick recap. Anyone remembers anything which we discussed last week, which was last Saturday? We discussed some verses from chapter 7. We are at chapter 7 entitled Knowledge of the Absolute, which is the middle section of Bhagavad-Gita, where we talk about the essence of Bhagavad-Gita. So anyone remembers, we'd covered till text number 10 last time. Anyone remembers?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I think we talked about how to see God everywhere, and Mataji and you were explaining all the energies that we see all around us, like the water and all the like gross elements, which is water, earth, ether, fire, and the air, and our subtle elements, all that. So
Very nice. That's a wonderful thing.
thinking about all that, like whenever we drink water, you just put our mind into the Krishna and say, okay, this is the taste of the water. So
Very
how
nice.
to basically be Krishna conscious
Thank
all
you.
the
Thank you,
time.
Prabhu. Very nice. Yes, that's spot on. So in the first three verses, which we discussed in the previous session, the acronym for this chapter is HEAD. So we can keep that in our heads. That HEAD is the acronym, and the first three verses talk about the hearing process. Because the knowledge of the Absolute cannot be attained without Shravanam. Bhakti begins with Shravanam. Hearing Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantasta Bhadrani Vidunoti Suhritsatam. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunoy Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Kariyodoy. All the verses glorified about Shravanam. The first verse of Chaitanya Shishtastakam also is about Shravanam. What's that verse? First verse? No, Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadava Nirvapanam. When we hear the holy name, this is purified. Our consciousness, which is covered with dirt, is purified. And then we are able to see Krishna everywhere. And that's the E for everywhere. Our bhakti will grow, it will blossom like a bud. And then we'll be able to see in water. And we see someone's intelligent, we see, oh, Krishna is the intelligence of the intelligent. And so with all that we were discussing, so we'll continue our discussion from where we left, and that was text number 11. Or yes, please.
So last time we were reading about that sound was the basis of the creation. So it's actually understanding sound is the basis of creation. Sound is also the cause of liberation. Therefore, we chant Hare Krishna mantra and call out to Krishna. So sound is means to get liberated also.
Wonderful. Shall I tell a story? Maybe I'll keep it till the devotees start getting bored. So right now everyone is fresh. So it for a little later. Okay, who wants to read this wonderful verse, text 11 of chapter 7? Karina wants to read. Go ahead. And you can keep your hand raised in electronic way so everyone will get chance who has their hand raised. Yes, Karina, please read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Palam Palavatam Shaham Kamaraga Vivarjitam Dharma Viru Bhuteshu Kamusmi Bharatar Sabha. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I am the strength of the strong, devoid the passion and the desire. I am sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles. O Lord of the Bharatas, Arjuna. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Karina, for reading this wonderful verse. So the E continues till text number 2. How we can see Krishna everywhere. When we see something, someone powerful, the strength, Mr. World or this or that, they may have, their body may be a little more powerful, but Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill. He doesn't have to go to gym to build muscles and then he starts to lift Govardhan hill. He doesn't have to, even in the lap of his mother, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in the material world, the world heavyweight champion will lift maybe 500 pounds, 700 pounds. I don't know what maximum they can lift, but they lift for one with a lot of effort. Oh, in 1 second, and then boom, down, right? And in that process, so many people end up breaking their bones. So many people end up going to the hospitals. So many people end up having shoulder problems, knee problems, back problems, this problem. Whole life is problem. But Krishna, but nonetheless, we can appreciate that wherever they're getting the strength is from the supreme strength, and that is the supreme law. And the next point is also very important. The sex life, which is the union of the mother and the father, a couple who is married by the Vedic process, that is sanctioned, and that union for the offspring, for a Krishna conscious offspring, that is not contrary to religious principles. So that is allowed, permissible. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was a Grihastha, had 10 children. Tukaram Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Yudhishthir Maharaj, Arjuna, and so many great examples in our history. We see they were all Grihasthas. Yes, they were brahmachari. Some of them were brahmachari, which is also fine. So it's up to one's individual choice and based on the natures that after 25 years of age approximately, one can make a choice that whether one wants to continue in the brahmachari ashram. But 99.9% in our ISKCON society also, we see our grihasthas, because this is more stable or more apt for most people. Because we are not raised up in the Vedic Gurukul, etc. system. So Grihastha life is, we have to ensure that it does not become Grihamedhi. Grihamedhi means one whose intelligence, Mehda means intelligence, is only absorbed in I, me, mine. My home, my car, my family, my, I, me, mine. How can I enjoy more? How can I extract more from me and my family? This is Grihamedhi. But what is Grihastha ashram? Ashram, Prabhupada mentions, ashram is a place where spiritual culture is always foremost. I repeat, ashram is a place where spiritual culture is always foremost. Each and every word is very important here. Ashram means where we have taken shelter of the Supreme Lord, Damodara, of the Supreme Lord Krishna. That is ashram, whether it is brahmachari ashram or grihastha ashram or vanaprastha ashram or sannyas ashram. All the 4 ashrams have one thing in common, and that is the shelter of the Lord. Otherwise, they are not called ashram. Just getting married to a boy or a girl does not make one grihastha ashram. Taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, having a Krishna conscious family, prioritizing, keeping the Krishna conscious culture as always, not only on once a weekend, not only once in a Janmashtami day in the year, not only once in a month, always foremost. Our day begins with Krishna consciousness, In the middle, Krishna consciousness, and ends with Krishna consciousness. This is ashram. This is what the purpose of Grihastha life is. Prabhupada is also mentioning here a very nice point that in the purport, the responsibility of parents is then to make their offsprings, children, Krishna conscious. That's the foremost responsibility. Giving food, water, shelter, birds also do that. Elephants also do that. Tigers also do that. All the 8.4 million species do that. But not everyone has the chance and the opportunity and the intelligence to make their offsprings Krishna conscious. So this is very, very important point. So if one is doing that, yes, one is permissible to have hundreds of children. Otherwise, these days, things are very pathetic. Use of inappropriate methods. So many children are killed in the womb. And free mixing of sexes before marriage, that is not dharma. It is not aligned with dharma. Or having relationships outside marriage, that's also not aligned with dharma. That is not Krishna. Krishna is saying, I am a sex life which is not contrary to the religious principles. So having premarital relationships or outside marriage relationships is not contrary, is contrary. So that is not Krishna. So you want to add a point or two?
Yeah, so Srila Prabhupada explains there's a term here, Kama Raga Vivarjitam. Kam means lust, Rag means attachment, and Vivarjitam means devoid of. So, when Prabhupada first statement, Krishna is saying, Balam Balvatam Chaham, he is the strength of the strong. So, where we've been reading different attributes or vibhutis that people can have. Somebody can be very intelligent, somebody can be very pious or austere. And Krishna is saying, I am the attribute in them. I'm those, I'm the driving force behind them. So similarly, when we are thinking that, oh, I am the most intelligent, or I am the most austere, or I am the most strong, then that's Kam Rag. That's Kam Rag. That means we are lusty for enjoyment. We want to enjoy these attributes, and so we are saying, this is mine, aham mameti, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. But Krishna is saying, Kama Raga Vivarjitam. Those who do not have attachment to these lusty desires, I represent them. So we have to become Kama Raga Vivarjitam. We have to understand that everything, Krishna is the driving force behind us. So there's no cause of pride and there's no cause for envy when somebody has those attributes. So that's what we have to remember. Kama Raga Vivarjitam, that represents Krishna. And Krishna is saying, Dharma Viruddha Bhuteshu Kamosmi Bharatarshava. So when we are trying to, sex life is actually very sacred, but now in the media, in the society, it is given quite a lot of importance, but it's not in the purest sense. So but Krishna is saying, but when that sex life is helping Krishna to give life to another jiva, it's actually Krishna. But in that life also, even Prabhupada mentions in the text 15 purport also, Prabhupada has mentioned the responsibility of the guardians is to make children Krishna conscious. So that is the whole purpose of sex life. It is actually to help Krishna in procreation. Krishna is already giving life. Krishna is already, material nature is already providing us bodies and different senses and all the needs that we may have. But when we are helping, we become part or we become instrument in Krishna's arrangement and plan, then that is non-different from Krishna. And as Prabhuji mentioned, that a lot of people, even in the married life, are not allowing children to proliferate, life to proliferate. They use abnormal methods to kill the children. Or even Prabhupada was talking about, talking to a gynecologist in Malaysia, and they would do abortions there for children. So he said that, just imagine that if I and you are in this room, and somebody sprays a gas which will suffocate us and we die. How pathetic is that? And that's what we do when people are trying to abort children, because they're not allowing the womb to have that healthy environment for life to proliferate. So that is what Prabhupada is mentioning, that we should not try to do all these things, because that makes our heart very hard, very hard, and it's also against, we're killing life, so we're not allowing life to proliferate. That is also against Krishna's plan. Krishna has put that life, and we are trying not to have it life in the future. So that is something which is contrary to religious principles.
Yeah, and it's very sad also. The statistics, maybe Natasha Mataji can tell the statistics better, but there are millions of abortion done every day, every year, millions. So quite sad statistic. And I also want to share one story which our neighbor told us. I don't watch news and all a lot. Maybe once in a while it comes through someone. So, but this, I kind of explode on this. And I want to share this with everyone because it gives, it has a lot of, it's a sad story again, but it's a true sad story. And it has a lot of lessons and I see a lot of young people also in the call. It's for everyone. These days, social media, Facebook and YouTube and what else is there? Instagram, Twitter, whatnot. So many things are there to allure. And sometimes people may post very rosy, cozy image of themselves. But what is going inside is a lot of shallowness. And I want to share, do you know this? How many of you heard the story about this young couple in US who heard this? Anyone knows? From Northport, which is actually 20 minutes from here. So where we live. So I'm going to share in very high level. I don't know all the details, but the point is this young couple, right? And there's their names. They went for a month-long or a few month-long trip and to national park, like a countryside. I just want to share some pictures that how, and each of them are like a public figure, right? The girl has over 1 million followers, or sorry, now I'll say had, because both of them are actually dead. And I will come to that point. We certainly pray for their souls, but the point is that they have millions of followers. The girl had over 1 million followers on Instagram, and the boy has also 500,000 followers, almost 500,000 followers. Their YouTube videos have millions of views. So basically they're public figure. And wherever they were going, they were posting nice pictures, in this national park and that national park and this and that, very rosy cozy image. So after 1 month, the boy came back to Northport. They were living in Northport, which is 20 minutes from where I live. So quite close from here. And the girl didn't come back. And there was a suspicion like what happened, because they seemed to be going well with each other. They were both in their 20s, early 20s, 22, 23-ish. And so the girl didn't come back, and the girl's family got concerned that something is not right. They haven't got a chance to communicate with her. They haven't seen them together. Something does not look right. And they've informed the police, and it was in the media, everyone trying to search. This just happened just like a few weeks back. This is a very new thing. And everyone is searching. And finally, they started to question the boy, because he was the one, with her. And they knew that the family knew they had gone for a trip. They quit their jobs also. So police started to question, and the young boy also internally must be freaking out, because one who follows adharma, and when dharma is questioning, their heart will shatter, in the first chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, right? So basically the police trying to represent the dharma, trying to question. So his heart must be inside like shattering. And then the police found the remains of the girl in one of the national parks. And by the time, I don't know what happened before, because I didn't read in great detail, just high level, the boy had also committed suicide because he knew what was about to come. So, my dear friends, it's a very sad story. I don't want to, but the lesson is important. We should not go in artificial real life so much that we forget the real life. The real life, the real substance is Bhagavad-Gita. Artificial, so many, even in recently. Hollywood, Bollywood, Instagram stars, YouTube stars, they may pretend an image of themselves that everything is very rosy cozy, but inside shallowness. So the boy had killed the girl, and then he knew what was coming. So before, all that goes to jail or whatever, he committed suicide. It's a very sad story. If we follow Bhagavad Gita, we can be away from all this stuff. And a lot of you are in the young age or will be passing through that phase. Things will appear very rosy cozy, but we have to understand what is the real sum and substance of life, and that is the Shastras. If we follow Guru Sadhu Shastra, we'll never be in the wrong path. If we follow the artificial so-called stars of Facebook and YouTube and whatnot, then we will be shallow, our life will be shallow. So let's continue to pray for them, because we certainly are, understand it's a big loss to the family and young people in their 22, 23 years, a big loss. But let's learn the lessons also, and let's have our compass in life, our direction in life very clear. So we'll move on to the next verse, which is text 12. Yes, Anita Mataji, you want to read?
Hare Krishna. Ye chaiva sattvika bhava rajasastamasascha ye mata eveti tanvidhi natva aham tesu temai. Translation: know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am in one sense everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on contrary, are without me. Hare Krishna, or within me. Hare Krishna.
Go ahead.
Okay, so here Krishna is saying that I am manifesting these modes of nature, different modes of nature. So you have to understand that Krishna is not under these grips of these modes of nature. He is above these modes of nature. So here Prabhupada is writing in the purport, for instance, under the state laws, one may be punished, but the king, the lawmaker, is not subject to that law. So even though sometimes it appears that Krishna is also under Rajas, Tamas, Sattva, or goodness, passion, ignorance, but he's not, So Prabhupada gives this example. We say God is absolute. So God's front side and back side, everything is good. There's nothing different about it. It's not that backside is less, it's inferior, or front side is superior, or leg is inferior, or face is superior, nothing like that. It's all absolute. And in the spiritual world, as we will be reading in later verses, there'll be a word towards the end of the chapter. There's a word called Dvandva. Dvandva means dualities. So this world is characterized with dualities: good, bad, honor, dishonor, pleasure, pain, cold, heat. But spiritual world is absolute. So whatever Krishna does is at an absolute level. So even if he lies, I didn't steal the butter, but he's doing it for increasing the intensity of love of the devotees. He's not under tamas. He's not under, in the modes of nature that he's lying. So everything that happens in the spiritual world is actually to increase the pleasure of Krishna or to increase the intensity of the devotees, or both. So that is the ultimate purpose. So there Prabhupada gives the example that Yudhishthira Maharaj in the war of Mahabharata was asked to lie with Krishna. He was supposed to say in his under his to Dronacharya that Ashwathama is dead, but he was supposed to talk about the Ashwathama the elephant, not Ashwathama the son of Dronacharya. So when Yudhishthira Maharaj is Dharmaraj, he's the truth personified, honesty personified. So when Krishna asked this, he was not willing to do that. He was hesitant to do that. And because he was hesitant, he didn't follow what Krishna is asking him to follow. And his chariot actually touched the earth because he didn't follow Krishna, even though it was a lie. Or it was actually, he was supposed to say under his breath, Ashwathama, the elephant is dead. So like that, he was supposed to say like that. But so Krishna was directing him to, do that. And it was not very, the Yudhishthira Maharaj found it very hard to comprehend why Krishna is doing that. But Prabhupada is saying whatever Krishna does, Krishna can adjust all the opposing elements. He knows how to adjust the situations perfectly. But in ordinary dealings, we must discriminate good or bad, truth or lie. So we should try to use it. This is religious or irreligious. But when it is in relation to Krishna, all these opposing elements become adjusted. So whatever Krishna is asking us to do, it's dharma. And whatever we do, which is Krishna is not asking us to do, is adharma. So like that, if in our sense, Krishna will not come, you do this or you do that. What senior devotees are saying, what the learned sages are saying is dharma, and what they're saying you should not do is adharma. Something like that.
Thank you. Nice comment. Prabhupada is elaborating in a word here called nirguna. Nirguna does not mean he does not have any quality. Some people say, oh, this Krishna is told nirguna in the Upanishads and this and that. So nirguna does not mean he does not have any quality. It means he does not have any material qualities. When he dances with the gopis, that's also transcendental. When he steals the butter, he's Chaurashtikam bhajan we're singing this morning. It is transcendental. When he's crying, it is transcendental. When he's angry, it is transcendental. When he breaks the butter pot, it is transcendental. When he runs away from the battlefield, it is transcendental. When he's fighting with the demons, it is transcendental. Generally, all these modes or acts are covered with different modes. Some in the goodness, passion, ignorance. We all have this different layers or different modes. But Krishna is transcendental of all these modes. So therefore, he is called nirguna, or he is not affected by these modes. Rather, he is the controller of all these modes. So 613 also is very important in this connection.
So, Shastras say Lord is Nirgun, but also we see that Shastras also explain 64 qualities of Krishna. So, it's contrary. That's why we have to understand Nirgun means actually no material qualities, but he has spiritual qualities.
Anyone has any other comments, additions, or questions so far? Where you covered 2-3 verses? Or any point we covered which is not so clear?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. May I add some?
Yes, please.
Very nice discussion, Mataji and Prabhuji, as always. Prabhuji, I heard from Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Maharaj's lecture, and also Pran Govinda Prabhuji recently said about the kam. So, which we're discussing is not only the sexual desire, which is called kam, but it's anything. If someone enjoys a nice house without Krishna, that is also called kam. Kam means anything which is not related to Krishna, but people want to enjoy. So that's just would like to add. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. That's such an excellent point here added and so apt in this discussion. Atmindriya priti vancha tare bolikam. Atmindriya, anything, as Mataji said, anything for one's own sense pleasures. For me, I, me, mine, or extended selfishness. My family only, my community only, etc. Krishna priti icha dhare premana. When the act is to please Krishna, that is called love, from lust to love. And actually, His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj was also making a very nice point here. Some people, maybe let's discuss that after we read text 13. So we'll discuss that after 13. Yes, Sampada, Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Babuji, Hare Krishna, text Turkey. Tripirgunamayer bhaver ebhi sarvam idam jagat mohitam nabhijanati namepyam param avyayam. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Dilated by the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, back to you.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. This verse is nicely explained, 12 and 13. The slide kind of explains this, that there are, and Prabhupada elaborates that there are different classes of people. Guna, Karma, Vibhagasha, the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. So Brahmanas are primarily in the mode of goodness, and the Kshatriyas primarily in the mode of passion, and Vaishyas in the passion and ignorance, and the Shudras primarily in the mode of ignorance. So it's not that someone is better or one we should. The point is everyone should be treated with respect. We have already discussed that Pandita Samadarshina. In every organization also there are different flavors of people. So this picture is very appropriate here. These represents the Shakti of the Lord. The different modes are controlling us. You see, like a puppet show. How many of you have seen puppet show in your life? You've seen at some point, right? So the puppeteer may not be seen, correct? The strings are also not seen. The ropes are invisible, or they are like blended with the color of the background. So it's not seen, but the puppeteer is controlling the puppet. So we are also puppets. In whose hand? In the hands of Shakti of the Lord. Sometimes the mode of goodness is prominent. Sometimes the mode of passion is prominent. Sometimes the mode of ignorance is prominent. So all the jivas are pretty much in the combination of different modes. And a good example to understand is through these colors. All the colors are made by the three primary colors or base colors, red, yellow, and blue. And their combinations in different degrees lead to hundreds and thousands of colors. Does everyone agree to that? So if we mix like 10% yellow and 25% red and rest is blue, it will be a different color. If you add 2% more yellow, it will be a different color. If you subtract, or we add 5% more red, it will be a different color. So no one is primarily in one mode. You cannot see even the demigods. They are primarily in one mode, but they also have combination of passion. You see sometimes Indra does activity which are in the mode of passion or ignorance. The demons are more in the mode of passion and ignorance and less of goodness, right? And then we will study later in the following chapters how pretty much everything is divided into different modes, not just people. The time of the day is divided in different modes. Morning time of goodness, the Brahmurta is pure goodness, the Brahma Muhurta. Then the passion begins, everyone running, work. And the night time, lazy, relax, chill out, watch TV, waste time, and then rest. And similarly, the foods are divided into different modes. The people's habits are divided into different modes. The kind of food we eat, the kind of thought we process, the kind of people we associate with, the kind of environment we live in. Some people like to live in a messy, cluttered place because ignorance is prominent. Some people like to live in a very clean place. It's because goodness is dominant, right? So pretty much everything is but Krishna in this picture, if you go back again, Krishna is above these three modes. He is the controller of all the demigods, all the Indra, Chandra, Varuna, and we'll study in the next verse also that the Maya Shakti is not superior to the Lord, rather it's the Shakti of the Lord, the Shaktiman. Shakti comes from Shaktiman, so Shaktiman is higher than the Shakti. So, any other points on there? Okay, very important verse, and it's a memory verse also, 7.14. Let's study that. Ravi, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Devi hi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mama eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Translation. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Hare Krishna, back to you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. This is a very often quoted verse, one of Prabhupada's important verses. This is in the top 50 verses as well. As we were referring to this slide here, that my energy, mama maya duratyaya, it's very difficult to overcome, because sometimes a person may not even feel that very few people, does anyone feel that one is bound? Anyone in the material world feels that one is bound? Very few people will be honest and say things are actually not working. I'm not the controller. People say, no, I can buy anything. I have money. I can go to any place. I can eat whatever I like. I can do whatever I like. I'm not bound. Why are you saying I'm bound? Right? So very few people even realize that. Therefore it is so strong. The chains are invisible. When the chains are invisible, it's even hard to overcome that. We are in this jail where the chains are invisible. Someone may have the chains of iron. Someone may have the chains of silver, more wealth. Someone may have the chains of gold, more wealth. But everyone is bound. Everyone is in the grips of the energy of the Lord. And this divine energy is very difficult to overcome, because of millions and millions of lifetimes we have been moving on in the cycle of birth and death. In the cycle of birth and death, just moving on like a puppeteer, like a puppet being being you're made to dance by this Maya energy. The mode of goodness string is pulled. Oh, let's go to temple. Oh, nice day. Let's go to temple. Mode of ignorance string is pulled. Then just forget about it. Just take it easy. Go to bar, watch wrong things and stuff. Go to passion. Oh, let's do something. Let's do something. Right? Just do it. Forget about what we have to do. Just do it. Eat, live life king size. Eat, sleep. Don't worry about tomorrow. Enjoy. All these are strings pulled by. Now, one who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord will not have to suffer under the grips of Maya. Because Krishna says, yes, it is difficult. Indeed, it is very difficult. But one who takes my shelter, it's now very easy. Because Krishna is the source of all energy, the source of all strengths. Imagine it's like a match of kabaddi, tug of war, or any where two teams, or tug of war, let's say. So one side are we, and the other side is Maya. Okay? And we are trying to overcome the Maya energy. We're trying to overcome the Maya energy. Maya is very strong, Krishna's energy. And we are infinitesimal. We cannot overcome. Can anyone overcome the Durga, the Maya Krishna's energy? But when we take shelter, Ma may be a prapadyan. Those who take shelter of me, then Krishna comes and stand right behind us, and then we can easily overcome. His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj gives an example. One time he went to his friend, and who had a big bulldog. And the bulldog started shouting, wow, 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 like loudly, and they're like scary, right? And then he was scared, right? Because they can certainly harm and probably kill also. They're like big dog. And then when the master told, okay, dog, relax, take it easy, he's my friend, then the bulldog does not harm. Right? So similarly, there's a very nice verse in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrit, which we will study here. Yeah, anyone wants to read this one? There's not a chance yet. Anita, Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andhakara Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Ra Adhikara. Krishna is compared to sunshine and Maya is compared to darkness. Wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion, the influence of the external energy will immediately vanish. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. This is such a wonderful verse. And one more verse we'll read from here. Please raise your hands those who are interested to read so I can go in a flow. Yes, Sudhir Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam Krishna Prabhu. Vilaja Manya Yasya Shatum Iksa Pate Amuya Vimotha Vikatha Te Mamaham Iti Durdaya. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The external illusion energy of Krishna, known as Maya, is always ashamed to stand in front of Krishna, just as darkness is ashamed to remain before the sunshine. However, that Maya bewilders unfortunate people who have no intelligence. Thus, they simply boast that this material world is theirs and that they are its enjoyers. Thank you, Prabhuji. Back to Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So appropriate verses in this connection. Where there is Krishna, there cannot be Maya. Where there is sun, there cannot be darkness. When we turn our face away from the sun or light, then we see the shadow or darkness. So, Krishna bhuli se jeev anadir hahirmukh ate maya tare de samsara dukh. When Jiva forgets Krishna, Maya gives dukkha. When Jiva remembers Krishna, Maya is gone. One establish Krishna connection or Krishna consciousness. And that's why we are here in this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, to be free from all suffering. And as Prabhupada said, then the Jiva comes in the strings of Krishna, because Maya is gone, illusion is gone, darkness is gone. Now, whatever is orchestrated in the life of that devotee who has taken shelter of the Supreme Lord is orchestrated by anyone? Krishna, right? Because Maya is gone. The Jiva has said, Krishna, I take shelter of you. Now, nachao, nachao, nachao simate. As Prabhupada said, I am like a puppet. You make me dance the way you want. And sometimes even so-called suffering may come. Why this accident happened? Why this disease happened? Why this death happened? Why this happened? If for a devotee, I repeat, for a devotee, it's personally orchestrated by the Supreme Lord, not by the Maya. And we recently had a very nice lecture by His Grace Balram Prabhu, who explained this point in great detail. So, I want to add a few points.
So, first thing to remember is, I think I asked one of the devotees when I was just beginner in Krishna consciousness and still like 10 years back, I asked that, why Maya is like so strong, when Krishna is so strong, then why Maya is so strong? So she said, because Maya is Krishna's energy, it is very strong. But when we take the shelter of the Supreme Energetic, then Maya will not have power. And we read beautiful verses with respect to that. It's also important to understand how Maya works. So here we are reading about 3 gunas. Prabhupada is writing in the purport, guna is actually like a rope. So as a conditioned soul, we are bound by these ropes. So Prabhupada explains that there are two ways Maya works. One is prakshep patmika and the other is avaratnatmika ways of working. So in avaratmika we feel that there's no suffering, we are just okay, we are doing okay. And in prakshepatmika we think that yeah, there's some suffering, but no worries, I'm doing okay. So we recognize to some degree, and then we do like I'm okay. It is very interesting. People ask how are you, and everyone says I'm okay. I'm doing fine, I'm doing good, because that's the most common answer people give, even though inside there will be some problems in the house, there is some problem, health may be in some problem. I'm doing okay, but this is wrong. I'm doing okay, but I'm not doing good at office or something. So people usually say I'm doing okay. So that's the covering of the Maya, where we feel that we are doing okay, but we are actually suffering in one way or the other. So it's very important. In Bible, there's a story of a prodigal son. It means that there was a son. He had a very rich father, very in the village, in the countryside. And he said that no, he had 4 brothers or something like that. And he said, no, I wanted, one of the sons said, I'm going by myself. I'm going to the city to earn money, and I can do, things my way. So I'm leaving you. And he left his father, and he went to the city, and he was earning a lot of, he was trying to earn, but he couldn't sustain. And he was trying very hard, but still he couldn't sustain. So then he finally realized that he has to go back to his father, and he returns to his father. And father is standing with arms open, trying to welcome him back to home. So this is the prodigal son who left the father, and he came back realizing that, I should stay in the shelter of my father. And so we are all the prodigal sons of Krishna. We rebelled against Krishna and we came here. And now we have to go back, and realizing that we are trying to sustain, there's a word, karshati, in 15th chapter, struggle for existence. We're struggling for one or the other thing. So we realize this struggle, and then we realize that we actually belong to the Supreme Father. That is how the purport of 15th chapter, text 15 begins. The Prabhupada is saying that we are actually belonging to the Supreme Rich Father. And so the intelligence is that we surrender to that Supreme Father. We don't have to beg on the road, when we have a rich father. That's not intelligence. So we go back to this, to our Father with full surrender. So there's another verse in Chaitanya Charitamrit, Madhya 22:39. Krishna tomara hana yadi bole ek baar, Maya banda haite Krishna tare kare paar. So all we have to do is tell Krishna just once, oh Krishna, I belong to you. And at that very moment, the Maya's grip will loosen, and Krishna will rescue us and deliver us from this material existence.
Thank you. Very nice. All these verses from Chaitanya Charitamrit 22 to 31 to 39 are very relevant in these connection. Sakradeva Prapannaya. Even once one tells, Thou asmi, I am yours. This is from Ramayana. Lord Ram says, even once if someone tells, Abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami etad brahman. Is there anyone wants to? Hare Krishna, is that audible?
Yes, Prabhuji, it's audible.
You can read the translation. Little Prabhu, want to read?
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Devotee, Dandava Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. It is my vow that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, My dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Wow. Isn't that so hope-giving? All we have to do every day is tell Krishna, Damodara, I am yours. From our heart, Krishna, Chinmaya Bhaskara Tumi, Kiranira Karna Ami. Prabhu Tumi, Ami Nitya Das. I am your eternal servant. Krishna, please accept me. That's it. At least we say it theoretically, and then we start internalizing that, and then we start speaking it from the heart. Then there's no worry, no hurry. Everything will then. Our Supreme Father, our most beloved, is arranging everything. Then there's no question of fear, insecurity. What will happen if this happens? What will happen if that happens? Well, everything. He's the supreme controller of all controllers. He'll arrange what's best. That's it. Easier said than done, but we have to continue to say that. So we'll do 15th words now. Yes. Tital Mataji, you want to read?
Hare Krishna. Namam duskriti no muddhaha prapadyante naratama maya ya parhita jnana asuram bhavam ashvitaha. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Haribol.
Thank
Thank you so much. So here the word is dushkritina. Dushkritina means one who is always acting against the scriptures, the miscreants. And so there are 4 types of miscreants. So as we were discussing, when Prabhupada is writing in the beginning, and he says in the lecture also, that we belong to a very rich father, then why are we not surrendering to him? And who are those personalities who are not surrendering to the Supreme Lord? So then this discussion starts. Okay, these are the 4 people who do not surrender to Krishna. And then we'll be reading the 4 people who surrender to Krishna. So here, grossly, so Dushkritina means miscreants. Who are the 4 miscreants? First is they're grossly foolish. So they're foolish. So Prabhupada is writing in the purport that they are the people who are working very hard day and night, spending sleepless nights, having ulcers and indigestion, but they're still working. And for what? For temporary gains. The material gains are flickering. They will go away. If not in this lifetime, then at the end of this lifetime. And even then, the enjoyment, as we understand in the material world, is very small. We labor so much, but the enjoyment is very less. There'll always be some or the other problem. So, therefore, it is, and they're also very, very, very reluctant to part with their earnings for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. They don't want to give charities. They don't want to do anything for the Supreme Lord. They just want to work for themselves. So the hard workers. So Prabhupada is also giving an example of ass. The donkey is always working hard, do not know for what, for whom. So Prabhupada is writing, very heavy purport. So Prabhupada is writing, illusory masters, they're working for illusory masters. So they're temporary masters in this particular lifetime, in this particular circumstance. They're working very hard for that. So they are foolish. They don't want to work. Prabhupada is writing in the purport, the swine who eat the night soil, the swine, the pig or the hog, who eat the night soil, the stool, do not care to accept sweet meats made of sugar and ghee. Similarly, the foolish worker will untiringly continue to hear of the enjoyment tidings of the flickering material world, but will have a very little time to hear about the eternal living force that is moving the material world. So they're entangled with the material world without acknowledging the master of the material world. So those are the foolish people. The next category of Dushkritana is Naradhama. Nar means man or human being, and then Adhama means fallen or the lowest. So there are so many, Prabhupada's writing, there are approximately 8,400,000 species of living beings, and of that 400,000 are human species. Among that human species, there's a particular description in teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Chaitanya Charitamrit, and I think devotees had made a nice pie chart. If we ever find it, we'll share. There's like a full pie chart of all the living entities. It shows that so many living entities are actually, in tree body, then in the aquatics, then the land animals, and very only 1% is actually human beings. Among that 1% of human beings, only few are interested in some religious activity. And of that, some are actually engaged in demigod worship. Some are actually engaged in God worship because they want something in return. And only very few, 0.001% are actually real devotees who really want to, understand the Supreme Personality of God as it is. So very small. So these Naradhamas, Prabhupada gives the definition. Who is a Naradhama? A person who is awarded this human form of life is not using that particular human form of life for higher inquiries, for understanding the Supreme Lord. That is an Aradhana. So these may be socially or politically developed, but have no religious principles. And even though religious principles are there, so-called religious principles, religion without God is no religion. Because ultimately the purpose of religion is actually to know the Supreme Truth and man's relationship with Him. Whoever loses this chance, to understand the Supreme Lord in this human form of life is an Aradhana. So Prabhupada is writing, as we were discussing with the 11th text, that when the child is in the womb, he's praying very hard. This is a very uncomfortable position. As soon as I get out, I will serve the Supreme Lord. But as soon as he comes, he forgets. See the covering influence of the Maya energy in text 14 and the throwing influence of the Maya energy. Throwing is that there's some problem, but it's okay, I'm good. So, but it is the duty of the guardians of children to revive the divine consciousness dormant in that. And so therefore, 99.9% of the population is Naradhana. They're not trying to inquire about the Supreme Lord. And then Prabhupada gives the example of Jagai and Madai who were delivered. They're the supreme Naradhamas, but they were delivered by the mercy of the devotee. So Prabhupada is writing, so the Naradhama who is condemned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead can again revive his spiritual consciousness only by the mercy of the devotee. So we are supposed to give Krishna consciousness to each and every one and try to deliver them and make them qualified to worship the Supreme Lord. The third category is Maya Aprita Jnana. So it means that Aprita means to plunder or to kidnap or to steal. So Jnana means knowledge. So one whose knowledge is stolen by Maya or the illusory energy. Maya Aprita Jnana. So these are actually very learned people, supposedly learned people, scientists, politicians, literates, philosophers, great learned people. And what are they trying to do? They are trying to utilize their intelligence or their knowledge to improve the sense gratification. So they are having these motor cars, in the internet or laptops, high quality laptops. But for what? They're having nice houses, nice bridges. What for what? They're trying for sense gratification. So these days we see people have the tendency to decorate their restrooms. They put little plants over the commode, little candles and little flowers or whatever decorations they want to do. But restroom is a restroom. The business of the restroom is that we do our business there and then come out. That's the purpose of the restroom. There's no other purpose. So similarly, the material world is like a dirty restroom, and we are trying to decorate it with all these opulences that the scientists are providing. We're trying to make it better, but it's not. It's not going to get better. And Krishna is saying that this is the Kalama Shashvatam, Anityam Asukam. This is not a place for, for finding happiness. It's flickering. And so we are trying to decorate our, toilets. Some of the devotees compare this example that we are trying to decorate the material world, but it is still a very uncomfortable place to be in. And so these Maya Aprita Jnana are trying to do this. So they're not utilizing the intelligence to serve the Supreme Lord and to inquire about the human form of life, but they are trying to utilize their knowledge and intelligence for betterment of the material situation. So their knowledge is actually stolen by the Supreme Lord. The last category is actually openly atheistic. They decry the existence of the Supreme Lord. Or they think that, oh, Lord is subservient to the impersonal feature. Or how can God come to this planet Earth? He cannot descend. He doesn't exist. So these are openly atheistic. But material energy is so powerful that it can resist the unauthorized plans. This is from the purport. Unauthorized plans of the atheists and baffle the knowledge of planning commissions. So people make a lot of arrangements. If people have these hurricane tracking centers and they track, oh, the hurricane is coming, but what are they doing about the hurricane? Can they stop hurricane? They're helpless in front of the material energy. So we may have certain plans, but material energy knows how to thwart it, how to completely nullify it. So the atheistic plan maker is sometimes very intelligent and meritorious also, because any gigantic plan, good or bad, must take intelligence to execute. But because the atheist brain is improperly utilized in opposing the plan of the Supreme Lord, the atheistic plan maker is called Dushkriti. This is in the beginning of the purport. So, you see that we need intelligence, either good or bad. But because it's against the plan of the Lord, material energy will thwart it time and again. So these are the 4 people who do not surrender unto the Supreme Lord.
Thank you. I know it's a very long purport, one of the longest purports, about 4 or 5 pages are there. So you can read it at your convenience. There are at least 5 pages. So all these 4 classes are shared in great detail. So is everyone okay?
Puji Mataji, I have a question that in class 2, they don't follow any religious principles. So that means they're atheist. I'm just speculating. You can clear me. And number 4 also, they are atheist. They are demonic principles. How do you differentiate these 2 classes?
Naradhama is the second class, and the last one is Asuram Bhavam Ashrita, the demonic principles.
Basically, Naradha is like too dull to inquire about life. They're too dull. And atheistic people are saying there's no God. See, sometimes even technically there are Naradhamas, there are tribal people who are very ignorant, even in human form of life. There are certain pockets in the world where there are tribal people living, and they're called Naradhamas, in technical terms, because they're too dull to inquire about life. They live in a very pathetic conditions, the very pathetic way of eating. They eat maybe their own grandkids or something like that, dead bodies or things like that, or their grandparents, I don't know. But they are like too dull to inquire about life. And these are like, they think they are the enjoyer, they are the supreme, But Prabhupada is saying that in one sense, everyone is a Naradhana. He's categorized 99.9% of Naradhanas. That means they are not inquiring, even though they have the intelligence to inquire. And there are certain people who are too dull to inquire about life.
Yes. This one is Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj was mentioning that even today, like as in the class 4, there are people who openly say that Krishna never descended to this material world, to this world. Or some say there are groups and sects of people who say Krishna is right now suffering in the hellish planets because of all the activities he did. So they can concoct whatever they want, and openly they will say that. They will distribute flyers to others about it. And I have seen that actually outside the temple, because they know that the faithful people are coming. Outside the people, they will distribute flyers against God. So openly atheistic, using this so-called intelligence to openly blaspheme God or devotees, etc. Asuram bhava, asura, like totally opposite to sura, like demons, demoniac, causing harm to others, openly, basically on the name of, and things like happening these days, you can certainly relate in this category, openly atheistic or fanatic, the demoniac principle. They've taken this asura bhava, ashrita, they have taken envious of the Supreme Lord. They cannot see, oh, why are these devotees openly chanting in the street, dancing? Why they look so happy? Let's do something to harm them. Right? Hiranyakashipu-like mentality, asura, trying to stop the religious activities openly. The 3 is like more like indirect way of getting away from God. No, I am God. Let's play God, right? They believe in God, but they want to kind of get away from it. And so there is certainly some overlap in here and there, but yeah, Prabhupada is nicely clarifying here. Does that help, Prabhu?
Definitely. Thank you, Prabhuji. I have one more question. Is it okay to do now?
Yeah, Prabhu, why not? We can certainly discuss.
So these 3 modes of Maya, so how they start? Like when we are born, a baby, so he is born with the mixture of 3 gunas from the previous birth, and when he grows with the nature and with the society, then it more the mixture goes to different way, or we are born without any guna and then it comes with our karma.
It's a complex combination of everything. As we know, the subtle body is always there until the jiva goes back home, back to the spiritual world. The subtle body will keep moving from one life to the other. So subtle body carries the desires. If someone is wanting to enjoy like something and they could not fulfill their desires, or the desires were still there, the next body they'll get equivalent. And of course, the next body they will get is based on the past karma, and also whatever cultivation is there. So now, if everything is past karma, then why should I try my child to be in a good consciousness? So everything is not past karma, right? Why should I even worry about if my child or my wife or my husband or my parents be Krishna conscious? Whatever is destined will happen only. I am not the controller. Yes, we're not the controller, but we have to try to make the odds in favor of that situation or against that situation. Now, someone is born in a family of Naradhama, someone is born in a devotee family, someone is born in a wealthy family, in a poor family, in India, US, or wherever, because of past factors. Now, in that family also, there will be choices, right? Choices by the parents, choices by the environment, and sometimes many times choices by the individual. Like I can give example of Lakshya Prabhu, right? He had the choice, like all of you had the choice today to come for the class or not come for the class, right? But the choices we are making now, we are building our future. Same for everything. Till 5-7 years, the choices are not there, right? Whatever if the parents will give him beef, they will eat beef. If the parent will give him Krishna Prasad, they'll eat Krishna Prasad. Till 5-7 years, there is not much choice. But after that age, the intelligence starts to develop, the reasoning starts to develop. Sometimes even there are small videos there of kids. They say, oh, this product which you are feeding me is made by killing this thing. I don't want to eat it, right? So there are very nice videos in that. And then the small 5-7-year-old tells their parent, I don't want to eat this, right? So it's a choice. So it's a complex factor of both the past, the present, the choices, the association also. Want to add?
Yeah, Balram Shakti Prabhu is giving the example of Yamuna Mataji, and we all know Yamuna Mataji is a very exalted disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada even said she's at the penultimate stage of prema or love of God, the stage of bhava. So she was actually born to a fisherman, And she made a choice to become a devotee, and not only just a devotee, but she became pure devotee. She was very dear to Prabhupada. So he was giving this example. I think he gave another example that I don't recall at the moment. But yeah, but everybody has. We have to make choices, even though we are born with certain gunas, and we understand that we have this problem, and then we can pray to Krishna accordingly. That oh, this mode of passion and ignorance is prominent in me, and so please help me, Krishna. And that surrender will help. And we will read in chapter 14, which is entitled Three Modes of Material Nature. And Krishna is saying that ultimately, it's why he tells Arjuna, Arjuna asks, because how do we get out of these modes of material nature? And Krishna says that it's through devotional service. Brahma, was
Bhagavad-Gita. So yes, and that's what we are here for. Someone asked Gaurang Prabhu, can destiny be changed? He said, yes, that's why we are here. To change our destiny, right? It's not, we cannot say, oh, he's destined to be a devotee or she's not destined to be a devotee. We are here, whatever. We read this bhajan today. That all the past sins which we may have committed from millions of lifetimes can be destroyed. By when Krishna is the expert stealer, he will steal all that, provided we take shelter of him. Provided Devi Isha Gunamai Mammaya Prapad. Mammaya Dritya Mamevya Prapad. So if we do our part, Krishna is promising he will do his part. Yamam Chayo Bicharena Bhakti Yogena Sevate Sagunan Samati Tyaitan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. One who does avyabhichari bhakti, that means unalloyed bhakti, engages fully in bhakti, then one can transcend. It's one of the questions actually in the Bhagavad-Gita quiz, the 50-verse quiz, right? For those who passed, if you remember. So this is one of the questions, 1426, that how can we overcome the three modes? Krishna is saying by unalloyed bhakti, we can overcome. Yes, it is difficult based on how deeply one is entangled. Based on how, like, for someone, 90% bhakti maybe he or she may have done in the past life. So for them, it will be easy to overcome. For some, it could be starting from 10%. Everyone present here has certainly performed some percentage. What that percentage is, we don't know. Krishna knows that. But based on one's seriousness, sincerity, one can certainly accomplish the goal of life. And that is unalloyed bhakti. So, does that make sense? Or
so we carry guna to next life. And then from there we get remodeled with the association.
Yes, subtle body, that is the intelligence, and the memory also. In some cases, there are a lot of stories they recall their last lives. And of course, the desires. All this is a product of gunas only. Very nice discussion. Thank you, Prabhu, for your question. So we'll quickly summarize. It's almost time. So we talk about the text. Started from text number 11 today. Bala Balavatam Chaham. So we discuss about karma. We discuss about the sex life, which is not contrary to religious principle, that is Krishna, the Grihastha Ashrama, and the difference in Griha Medhi. And then we discuss about the different modes, that how Krishna is, or different colors, example, how jivas are working in different modes, but Krishna is superior to all. He doesn't get entangled in all. Therefore, Janma Karma Chame Divyam, everything is transcendental. It's not a product of the different modes. And actually from that verse itself, text number 13 is the next point, accept or reject. Head, in our head, H-E-A, A is for accept or reject. Text 13 to 20 talk about this principle. Some people reject it. Text 15, they reject it. They're not interested. Dush Kritina. Kritina means expert in doing something. Dushasana. Duryodhana, Durniti. So many examples are there, so many words that do means bad. So they are expert in doing bad, atheistic or playing with God or somehow not interested in God realization. Now it's a choice. We have a choice to accept Krishna's shelter or reject Krishna's shelter. If we accept, we discuss what will be the outcome. One will be free from the Maya energy. One will be controlled personally by the Supreme Lord, who is loving, caring Father. There is no question of loss, fear, insecurity. All those things will be gone. Nashtaprayashu abhadreshu, shoka moha bhaya apaha. Everything, impurities will be gone. All the fears will be gone. Dadami etad vratam mama. We discussed that. Also, so many verses from Chaitanya Charitamrit and the 4 types of dushkritana. So we'll pause here and take some, maybe 1 or 2 comments or questions or additions here. Thank you for your wonderful association. Anyone has any comments, additions, questions? Next week, we'll discuss 4 classes of people who accept, right? So we discuss those who reject. So the A will continue. We'll talk about those who accept. Anyone has any additions, questions in today's discussion, or any verse or thoughts or corrections?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Nanava Pranam. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Very nice class, Mataji and Prabhuji. I just want to share this, that when one sincerely surrenders to the Lord, genuinely, it's like a burden comes off your shoulder when problem comes, when calamities hit you or anything. We are always, because of how we surrender, you always feel there is someone looking over you. And in that attitude and that frame, you're able to handle whatever comes your way very easily. That's my contribution, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. You just paraphrased that verse. Krishna tomara hana yadi bole ek baar. If one says, Krishna, I am yours, then Maya banda hoita Krishna tare karega. Krishna will take care. Krishna will take care. We should have faith. Krishna will take care. And when he says it, he means it. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice. Anyone else has any other thoughts, additions, corrections, or anything struck you really? Puja Mataji, you want to share something you've been hearing so attentively?
No, Prabhuji, thank you.
Thank you for your association. Anyone wants to say anything which really struck them today before we wrap up for today? Sampada Mataji. Lakshay will tell 1 point. Lakshay, what inspired you today? What's your take-home message?
Like that we shouldn't like think that we are like the make like beyond God, like we aren't the maker kind of.
You're not the maker, doer. Very nice. Good, good. Very nice. Thank you again, everyone, for your wonderful association, for your attentive hearing and discussion, reading, especially in this month of Damodar Kartik. Very, very transcendental. And that's what is said, recommended. So I hope everyone is aware about the lamp offering process. So please do that and inspire others also, your friends, neighbors, well-wishers in this month of Kartik, so we can get extra mercy in this transcendental Damodar sale. Okay, so we'll pause here. Shri Bhagavad-Gita Upanishad ki jai, Shri Damodar Mas ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaurav ki jai. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo namo namah. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari
Hare
Bol.
Krishna.
Hare Bol.